Behind the apartment door, it was just another evening in the city. The streets filled with the hum of distant traffic, the soft glow of streetlights casting long shadows across the sidewalks. Inside a small, unassuming apartment complex, a woman named Sarah arrived home after a long day at work. She was tired but relieved to finally be back in the comfort of her own space. Little did she know that night would change everything. Sarah unlocked the door to her apartment with a sigh, grateful to escape the noise and bustle of the city. Her place was simple and cozy. The faint smell of takeout food lingered in the air as she kicked off her shoes, ready to unwind. As she dropped her bag by the door and flicked on the lights, something felt off, a strange tension in the air, as though the apartment itself was holding its breath. He paused. There, at the end of the narrow hallway, was her apartment door. Her own door, but something was different about it. The door. It was slightly ajar. Sarah's heartbeat quickened. She was certain she had locked it before she left. The door should have been closed, but now it stood slightly open, just enough for a sliver of darkness to spill out into the hallway. A creeping feeling settled in her chest, but she shrugged it off. Maybe it had gotten stuck in the wind, she thought, or perhaps she hadn't fully closed it earlier. Still, a sense of unease lingered as she walked slowly toward it, every step feeling heavier than the last. She called, stepping through the open door. The apartment was eerily silent. The living room was exactly as she'd left it, the couch pillows arranged, her laptop on the coffee table, and the faint glow of a streetlight filtering through the window. But something was wrong. There was a faint, lingering smell, something metallic, almost like iron, in the air. She couldn't quite place it, but it made her stomach turn. Sarah turned back toward the door, but just as she reached for the handle to close it, she heard it. A faint creak, her breath caught in her throat. The sound was subtle, but unmistakable. It came from behind her, from deeper within the apartment. Slowly, Sarah turned, her pulse pounding in her ears. The apartment was still dark, except for the dim light coming through the window. Nothing appeared out of place. But the noise, the sound, came again. Crick. From the hallway. Her heart skipped a beat. The hallway was empty, but the door to her bedroom at the far end of the corridor was slightly open. The door creaked again, this time louder, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate. Sarah froze, the blood drained from her face, her mind racing to make sense of what she was hearing. She couldn't deny it now. Someone was in her apartment. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. No signal. Her heart hammered harder in her chest. The footsteps grew louder, closer, and then stopped right behind her. A voice. Soft. Whispering. Sarah. Her body went cold as she turned toward the voice, but the hallway was still empty. She backed away slowly, her mind racing, trying to convince herself it was just her imagination. Maybe it was the exhaustion playing tricks on her, she thought. But then, the door to her bedroom creaked open wider. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then, they went out completely. Pitch black. Pitch black. Pitch black. Sarah's breath hitched in her throat. She could hear the sound of her own pulse in her ears, pounding louder and louder with each passing second. Then, a soft, dragging noise. Something heavy, being moved across the floor, broke the silence. Her body tensed, and her legs refused to move. The whisper came again, this time clearer, almost like a hiss. Behind the door, something moved in the dark. And then, the door to the bathroom, which Sarah had never opened since moving in, slammed shut with a loud bang. Terror surged through her. Without thinking, she sprinted toward the door, yanked it open and ran out into the hallway, barely able to breathe. She rushed down the stairs, her footsteps echoing in the stairwell. She didn't stop until she reached the street, gasping for air, shaking uncontrollably. Her eyes darted to the window of her apartment. It was dark, the lights out, but there, in the window, something moved, a figure, standing behind the curtain, watching her. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she ran into the street. Her apartment building loomed behind her, silent, like it was holding its breath, waiting for her to return.